we're back and checking out the mage now, and we are checking out Arcane first, as you can tell by the title of the video. So we've got Spellflinger here. I was actually surprised I was able to get this even on the PTR, just because, I don't know, it seemed like kind of an obvious name to me anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit here, and let's take a look at the class, or spec, or both, whatever. So Arcane, manipulate the Arcane, destroying enemies with overwhelming power. And we've got Arcane Blast here. Expensive range attack, generates an Arcane charge, damage and mana cost increased per Arcane charge. Whoops, that's not even, whatever. Arcane Missiles, free range attack that generates an Arcane charge and is sometimes activated by your other spells. Damage increased by Arcane charges. And let's throw this on over here.
I need a target.
Yeah, haha. So that was Arcane Barrage right there. Inexpensive range attack, consumes all Arcane charges. Damage and number of targets hit increased by Arcane charges. So that's why I wanted to get, at least I want to have at least I want to have a couple of charges there before I fired this off at those guys. It's actually almost funny now because I'm not one-shotting things like I have on almost every other class. It's just kind of funny. Arcane Explosion, explosion centered on your location, generates an Arcane charge, damage and mana cost increased by Arcane charges. So it does more damage the more you use it to blow up enemies near you, but it will also cost more to keep casting it. Alright, Evocation, channeled spell with a long cooldown, causes you to rapidly regenerate mana. Basically returns all of your mana within just under 6 seconds there. And Arcane Power, spell with a long cooldown, causes your spells to deal more damage and cost less mana. So right here, it's kind of like the Avenging Wrath of the Mage class, so you deal 30% more spell damage, and spells cost 30% less mana. So we'll jump into the talents right here. Got Arcane Familiar, you can actually, that Arcane Familiar, you can see it kind of flying around there. Summons a familiar, attacks your enemies, and increases your maximum mana by 10%. Lasts 1 hour. Presence of Mind causes your next 2 Arcane Blasts to be instant cast instead of taking a couple seconds to cast each. And then Words of Power grants a 1% increased chance to trigger Arcane Missiles per 20% of your mana you have unspent. So basically, if you're at max mana and throw something, then that would give you what, an extra 5% chance. So it'll give you a 20% chance when casting the spell to hit there. Though Arcane Blast apparently has double the chance for it to trigger. So it's normally 30%. So I guess that would mean that it would be 40% chance if you had this passive, which that may be worth it actually, because this is a decent amount of damage that it does there. Yeah. At least for a single target. And level 30, we've got Punch You to Death. Shimmer, I went with this one, so it replaces Blink. It gives you 2 charges of Blink, basically. And it's not affected by the global cooldown, so you can just kind of work around with it. And, oh, come on, man. Oh, sheesh, I was going to say, like, is it going to freaking lag out on me again? And then there's Cauterize. Fatal damage instead leaves you at 35% health, burns you for 28% of your maximum health over 6 seconds. While burning, movement slowing effects. Excuse me. Sorry, just muted myself real quick there to clear my throat. Movement speed is increased by 150%. The effect cannot occur more than once every 2 minutes. Okay, lag. Awesome. Really? Oh, it only does like 1,000 damage. I thought it did more than that for some reason. Alright. So basically, instead of dying, you get put at 35% health, but then you lose 28%, so it leaves you at 7% total. So you need something, you would need a healer to really do anything. So I think if I'm running around solo, I'd rather just die than like be sitting at, you know, easy pick off point health wise. And then Cold Snap Ice Block now has 2 charges and heals you for 3% of your maximum health every 1 second. And where's Ice Block? So it lasts for 10 seconds. So it would give you 30% of your health back. So I know some people are liking that one because it's one of very few ways to heal as this spec slash class even. Level 45, we've got create 3 copies of you nearby, which cast spells and attack your enemies. Alright. And Rune of Power. Oh, that's Words of Power. This is Rune of Power. Okay. Places a Rune of Power on the ground for 10 seconds. Increases your spell damage by 50% while you stand within 8 yards. And has 2 charges. And the one I went with is Incanter's Flow. So magical energy flows through you while in combat, building up to 20%, increasing damage, building up to 20% increased damage, and then diminishing down to 4% increased damage, cycling every 10 seconds. So basically, you just get. Oh, it actually seems to be doing it like per attack, from what I can tell here. Or, oh no, it's probably pausing because I left combat real fast. That would kind of make sense. And then I guess it just sits there at whatever level it's at until you fight again. Because I don't think I've seen that go away. We'll see. I'll stay out of combat for a little bit here and kind of rush through a few of these. So Supernova, I took this one. Pulses arcane energy around the target enemy or ally, dealing some arcane damage to all enemies within 8 yards. Knocking them upward. The primary enemy target will take double the damage. So it'll do, and okay, I guess it does fade away after a while. So it says here it'll do basically about 10,000 damage. So the main target would take 20, if I'm reading this right, and then all the others around him would take 10. So I like that, the little AOE thing. Got a little bit of range on it too. Charged up gives you an instant 4 arcane charges, and I just realized that actually isn't too bad. It's only got a 40-second cooldown. That's not terrible. Yeah, that's actually pretty darn good. Because then I can fire this thing at 5 enemies, and it does like what times 4 would be like 320% increased damage. I might actually change that around if I play Arcane. But anyway, we've got Resonance then. Arcane Barrage deals 25% increased damage per target it hits. So it already does more damage per arcane charge. So with this, if it hit 4 targets, it would do like 100% increased damage. So you can really stack Arcane Barrage to do a lot of damage. And just remember, this uses up all your charges when you do that. Got Ice Flows here. I don't know, it may not actually be that efficient, I guess, but it lets you, spells that have a cast time less than 10 seconds, which as far as I know is pretty much every spell, you're allowed to cast them while moving. And and then where it says unaffected by the global cooldown and castable while casting means I could be in the middle of casting something else. Where's a good example here? So I guess we'll just do that, and I can, in the middle of casting that other spell, I can trigger it and start walking around. And then as soon as you cast it, the ice flow charge that you had up is gone. So then you'd have to cast it again to be able to start another one. Like, so I'm just walking around, I can't do it. Now I can. As I cast Ice Flows again. Alright. The heck are you? Alright. Ring of Frost summons a Ring of Frost for 10 seconds at the target location. Enemies entering the ring are incapacitated for 10 seconds. It can only hit up to 10 dudes. And then Ice Ward. Frost Nova now has 2 charges. So that's one that may actually be more worth it in some ways, possibly. So because you just hit all enemies in front of you for some damage. It's not a whole lot, but it does freeze them in place, so I think that's kind of more the purpose of that one, is it's a little bit of a crowd control thing. Because you can just throw that, freeze everything, and then run away or something if you need to. So this will give you 2 charges of it. And Nether Tempest places a Nether Tempest on the target, deals some arcane damage over 12 seconds to the target, and damage to all enemies within 10 yards. Limit 1 target, so it hits the enemies around it, but you can only hit, like, you only target on 1 enemy. Damage increased by or per charge. Unstable magic. Arcane Blast has a 15% chance to explode on impact. Deals additional damage to the target and all other enemies within 8 yards. So that's gonna, yeah. So if it explodes, then it does some extra damage in an area. Erosion. Your attacks erode the target's resistances, increasing all damage the target takes from your arcane spells by 1%. Stacking up to 8 times. After 3 seconds of not taking damage from your spells, this effect decreases by 1% every 1 second. So if you're just not casting, you lose the benefit of it, basically. It looks like I'm probably going to lag out here, but I think we'll be able to finish up with this spec, and I'll take a look at what's going on there. Overpowered. Casting arcane missiles extends arcane power by 2 seconds. And arcane, okay, yeah, so this is the thing that increases my damage and reduces spell cost. So basically lasts for 10 seconds. If I cast arcane missiles, then it ups it a little bit. Quickening, arcane blast, arcane missiles, and arcane explosion also grant 2% haste for 6 seconds. That's the one I went with. Stacks up to 100 times. And the effect is cleared though when you cast arcane barrage. But otherwise, like, I can just sit here. Oh yeah, I can't do it right now because the game's being dumb. But basically, I can just like spam arcane explosion, and just get a whole bunch of haste, so that I could then pop off, arcane blast or something, yeah. So you can just like pop off arcane blast even faster and faster and faster. And the last one is arcane orb. Launches an arcane orb forward from your position, traveling up to 40 yards. Deals some arcane damage to enemies it passes through, and it grants 1 arcane charge when cast and every time it deals damage. So if I hit like 5 enemies, I just keep getting arcane charges, and I can try to just like burn through them real fast or something. So that's gonna be it for the Arcane Mage. I'll figure out what the heck's going on with the server or my computer or whatever. So sorry, Spellflinger won't be able to wave goodbye because things aren't working now, but thanks for watching, everybody. If you do like the video, don't forget to tick that like button. Don't forget to tick that subscribe button as well to get updates when new content drops on the channel. And do remember that there is no IRL, just AFKs, and we'll see you next time that Amo plays World of Warcraft. Peace out.